Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Good morning, everyone. So today I'd like to talk about wonder, what it is and how it relates to our lives as Buddhists. Here's one definition of wonder. Rapt attention or astonishment at something awesome, mysterious, or new to one's experience. So when we encounter something that is awesome, mysterious, or new, and it completely captures our attention or astonishes us, we feel wonder. Let's take a closer look at each of these three qualities that an object of wonder might have: awesome, mysterious, and new. Awesome means it makes us feel awe. That is, it causes us to feel deep admiration or reverence. And a simpler way of saying that is that it makes us go, wow. Okay. Now that we know that awesome is a very overused word now, it's become an all-purpose, quick way for us to say something is great or cool, or to show that we are enthusiastic about something, like, OMG, this burrito is awesome, or it's so awesome that you got a new iPhone, or thanks for helping me out, you're so awesome. It's hard to resist the temptation to say that everything good is awesome. But the kind of awesome that I'm talking about here is deeper and more meaningful than that. We're looking at things that are awesome, that fill us with a powerful feeling of awe because they stir something deep inside of us. So what kinds of things can be awe-inspiring? Here are some examples. Nature. So many things in nature can fill us with awe. A landscape or a natural feature like the Grand Canyon, shown in the upper left. A plant or a tree like giant sequoias, the biggest and most majestic trees in the world. Or an animal like a tiger, magnificent looking. Natural phenomena such as a solar eclipse or a volcanic eruption or giant ocean waves like the ones we saw along the coast a few weeks ago can also inspire awe. Beauty. We can also feel awe when we see things that are beautiful. They might be gorgeous flowers, like these roses from my garden. Or it could be a landscape, or a person, a work of art maybe, or a piece of music. Human abilities or achievements can also fill us with awe. For example, seeing an extraordinary athlete like the gymnast Simone Biles in the middle, who many call the GOAT, the greatest of all time. It could be a writer or a musician that we admire greatly, someone who does something so incredibly well that we can't imagine how they can perform at that level. I play the ukulele. When I hear Jake Shimabukuro play the uke, I'm awed by his talent because it seems almost superhuman that somebody could play like that. So those are some kinds of things that inspire awe, that can create a sense of wonder in us. A second quality of an object of wonder is mystery. When something seems mysterious to us, that means there's something about it that is unexplainable, that is beyond our understanding. This is Stonehenge, an enormous monument located on the Salisbury Plain in England. It was built some 4,500 years ago by ancient peoples. It was constructed from these enormous stones that were apparently brought from far distances. The exact method of its construction and the purpose of this monument are not completely understood. Is it an observatory, a burial site, a place for religious worship? Even after all this time and much scientific study, so much about Stonehenge is unknown to us. It is a mystery. Something that is mysterious is intriguing to us. We want to know where it comes from, why it is the way it is, and what it means. It tantalizes us and fills us with questions that we want to know the answers to. And that mystery can create a sense of wonder. A third quality an object of wonder might have is that it is new. If something is new to us, that means we are seeing or experiencing it for the first time. Why does that create a feeling of wonder? When we've seen something before, we think we already know all about it. It's familiar to us, so we tend to take it for granted. But when we see something that's new, we pay attention to it. We're born with a survival instinct to notice new or unfamiliar things because we have to evaluate whether it's potential danger. So if something's new to us, we naturally look at it closely, thinking, what is this? And if there's something unusual or special about it, it keeps our attention. It's also possible for us to encounter something that we're already familiar with, but for us to see or experience it as if for the very first time. For example, you might have seen the sun rising many times in your life, but then one day you might see the sun rise from a special place where it looks especially beautiful, like from the top of Mount Haleakala in Maui on your honeymoon, like this photo here. And that particular sunrise touches you profoundly because you're in nature, in an incredibly beautiful place, with a person you love. So it's not like any of the many sunrises that you've seen before in your life. It's as if you've never seen the sunrise before now. So when we see something that fills us with awe, that we find mysterious, or that is new to us, it can completely capture our attention or astonish us because it's so special and remarkable. We're captivated by it, meaning we're completely focused on it. We can't take our eyes off it. Or we're astonished. We're amazed and stunned. We marvel at it. It makes such an impact on us that we feel blown away. That's wonder. Wonder goes beyond being impressed or surprised. It's much deeper than that. It's not a thought process. It's not something we can control. Rather, it's a feeling that comes up from inside us. There's an emotion that we feel when we encounter something that is rare and remarkable, something that we can't fully explain. In fact, sometimes we're so awestruck that words are inadequate to express it, so our only possible reaction is silence. Or if we can say something, it might be just that one word, wow. Now, what does feeling wonder have to do with Buddhism? I think there are a number of ways in which wonder connects us to the Buddhist teachings. First, when we feel wonder, we are experiencing the beginner's mind. The beginner's mind is an important idea in Buddhism. As Buddhists, we try to see reality just as it is. But that's not easy because each of us has a whole set of ideas and expectations about the world is like, based on our experiences. And based on those ideas and expectations, we're constantly making judgments, deciding whether a particular person or thing or situation is good or bad, right or wrong, friend or enemy. We see things in this very black and white sort of way. We make judgments all the time, and we feel certain about the rightness of our judgments and our way of seeing the world. So we tend to cling to our rigid views and resist changing our minds. But we don't start out life that way. All of us are naturally born with the beginner's mind. To a newborn, everything is brand new. And as that child grows up, they will encounter more and more new things. They're also learning new skills, like how to walk and talk. And as they explore and learn about the world around them, they look at everything they encounter with curiosity and amazement. So many experiences are fresh and new to them. That's why they're full of questions. Why is the sky blue? Why does a zebra have stripes? How can airplanes stay up in the sky without falling down? So wonder is a curious child's natural state of being. But we lose that sense of curiosity as we get older. We grow up and get busy with our daily lives. We stop noticing things because we're in too much of a hurry to pay attention. We're always on to the next thing and not paying attention to what's going on in the present. We pay less attention to the natural world and more to our social world, focusing on what other people are thinking about us. We also think that we know everything that we need to know, or we worry that we will look stupid or ignorant if we ask questions, because that's kind of admitting that we don't know something. So we squash our curiosity. Rachel Carson, the famous environmentalist, wrote, "A child's world is fresh and new and beautiful, full of wonder and excitement. It is our misfortune that for most of us, that clear-eyed vision, that true instinct for what is beautiful and awe-inspiring, is dimmed and even lost before we reach adulthood." When we feel wonder, we are experiencing, even if just for a few moments, the beginner's mind, where we don't bring any preconceived ideas or notions. It's something that short-circuits our usual way of seeing the world so that we see something different and new, and that is eye-opening, energizing, and exciting. That's the beginner's mind. Another way that wonder connects to Buddhism is mindfulness. We talk a lot about mindfulness in Buddhism. And the definition of wonder that I shared at the beginning includes rapt attention. That means that the wondrous thing that we encounter startles us into really looking at it, paying deep attention. And that's what mindfulness really is. It's attention. Mindfulness means that we are quieting our racing thoughts and our judgments. We simply sit and breathe, just noticing our thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judging them or attaching to them. When we feel wonder, paying close attention to something, feeling a deep emotional response rather than judging or analyzing, we are living in the present moment. And when we take that mindful way of being and use it to look really closely at the world around us, we start to see the extraordinary in the most ordinary things. We realize that wonder is all around us, if we look for it. Wonder can also help us awaken to the truth of impermanence. One of the basic teachings of Buddhism is that everything is constantly changing and is impermanent. Nature constantly reminds us that all things are impermanent. For instance, when we see beautiful flowers or colorful autumn leaves, they keep their beauty for just a short time before the flower dies or the leaf fades and falls. We know that all living things, including ourselves, will sooner or later pass away. Impermanence is a fact of life. When we cling to things or people or ideas or situations because we want them to stay the same, we just create suffering for ourselves. But if we recognize and accept this truth of impermanence, we can add meaning and richness to our lives. When we embrace the reality that nothing lasts forever, it makes us appreciate the preciousness of life. We shouldn't think of this as something, depressing, but as a gift, a reminder to appreciate every moment. There is a Japanese Buddhist saying, "Ichigo, ichi-e." It means one lifetime, one meeting. It means that everything we do and every person or thing or experience that we encounter is unique. It's both a first and a last time for us because we are never going to have that same encounter in exactly that same way again. So we need to experience each one fully and completely. And wonder is something that can get us to pause and to appreciate that moment. Take it in and appreciate both the fact that this moment exists, but also the fact that this moment is never going to come again. A sense of wonder can also help awaken us to the truth of interdependence. When we feel wonder, we're experiencing a deep sense of connection to whatever it is that we're seeing. You're able to see yourself both in relation to that wondrous thing and as a part of it. It's as if the boundaries between you and the rest of the world, or between you and all of existence, are dissolved. We might call this feeling oneness or interdependence. It's hard to describe, it's kind of abstract, so let me try and give you an example. When I look at this photo of a mountain gorilla, I feel a powerful sense of wonder, and I hope you do too. I mean, just look at him. He's an incredibly beautiful and magnificent animal. Look at his muscles, his hair. I mean, he just looks perfect. He's incredibly well adapted to his environment from what I've read up about gorillas. Above all, I see so much life and intelligence in his eyes. And take a moment to just look into his eyes. I feel a connection to him. That's not surprising because this gorilla and I are both primates, and you're all primates too. We're animals that evolved from the same distant ancestors, according to evolution, and we share 97% of our DNA with this gorilla. So I don't feel separate from him. I feel that in a way, I'm a part of him, and he's a part of me. I feel, it's a wondrous thing to be living on the same planet as this guy. I mean, it's amazing. So this kind of wonder doesn't come from a belief in magic or anything supernatural. Instead, I think that what we are sensing is the essence of things, true reality as it is, the wonder that's inherent in our existence. And the connection between us and everything else. We feel ourselves to be a part of a magnificent landscape, perhaps, and the boundaries dissolve. We look in the eyes of this magnificent animal, and we feel the boundaries between him and us dissolve. Perhaps we are able to feel that oneness, that interdependence, because wonder takes us out of our ego-centered way of looking at the world, where it's all about me, me, me. It wakes us up, showing us that there's something that's beyond just ourselves. That may be why when people are standing on the edge of the Grand Canyon, they might say things like, I feel so small, or it made me feel so insignificant, because they're not seeing themselves in an ego-centered way anymore. They realize that they're part of something infinitely bigger and vaster than that. So, obviously, wonder is great. How can we get more of it? Well, wonder is all around us, but in the busyness of our everyday lives, we often lose touch with it. What can we do to reawaken that sense of wonder that we had as young children, to get back to our beginner's mind? I think first we have to go looking for wonder. The main way is to stop, notice, look, and listen. Be alive to the world that's around you. Reverend Kenyu Tsuji describes this in Listen, which is on page 24 of our service book, and he says, listen to the voice of the Dharma, listen to the birds singing in the morning, the wind sighing in the boughs overhead, and the roar of the waves on the beach. Listen to the rain on the roof and the snow falling in the fields. He's telling us that there's wonder all around us if we make the effort to find it. And in that wonder, we can hear the voice of the Dharma, of true reality, speaking to us. To look for wonder, we need to put down our devices and apps, okay? They're cleverly designed to grab our attention and to keep it. When we have a moment when we're doing nothing, we pull out our phones, our tablets, and start scrolling. I'm looking, is anybody doing that now? Hopefully not. We pull out our phones, our tablets, and start scrolling, texting, playing a game, and I'm as guilty of that as anybody else. But when we do, we're shutting ourselves off from the real world that's all around us. When you're using your AirPods or your headphones, can you hear the sound of the birds or the rustle of the leaves in the wind that Reverend Tsuji talked about? I don't think so. Wonder is more accessible to us when we practice mindfulness. We can start by simply sitting and breathing. I used the term awe-inspiring earlier, and it's not a coincidence that the word inspire means to breathe. We're breathing in awe. We're taking a pause to just breathe. When we quiet our minds in this way, sitting, breathing, noticing the way our bodies feel, and being aware of the things going on around us, but not attaching to those thoughts, we begin to notice more, even at times when we're not doing mindfulness meditation. Wonder doesn't have to be something that hits you over the head. It can just as easily be found in the little details and in the everyday things that we might encounter. But the smaller and more ordinary it seems, the harder it is for us to notice them. So to find these small wonders, we have to pay close attention. Look at the sparkling drops of dew on this plant. They're so beautiful, almost like jewels. But we probably walk by something like this, like multiple times a day, without ever noticing it. To see it, we would have to stop, crouch down, and look at things really closely. How often do we do that? If we did, who knows what other small wonders we might see. So when we open ourselves to experience wonder, we can see how many awe-inspiring, beautiful, and remarkable things are all around us. We start to feel a deep sense of connectedness to other beings and to the world in which we live. We can perceive that we're supported by boundless things, by all of existence. Earlier in this service, we recited the three treasures, which specifically calls on us to think about wonder, how rare and wondrous it is to have been born into human life, and now I live it. How rare and wondrous it is to be able to listen to the Buddha Dharma, and now I am able to hear it. The unsurpassed, deep, and wondrous Dharma, even in millions of kalpas, is extremely difficult to encounter, but now I am able to experience and embrace it. This is telling us that wonder is at the heart of our existence in this world as human beings, and how fortunate we are that that's the case. In Buddhism, wonder does not arise from something supernatural. Rather, when we feel wonder, we're seeing the essence of things as they are. We're experiencing true reality. And to conclude, I'd like us to reflect on something wonderful that's right in front of us, our onaijin, our altar. Take a look at the onaijin. We sit in front of it every Sunday, but how closely do we look at it? I mean, it's incredibly beautiful, isn't it? There are colorful carvings of flowers and animals all over. There are these intricate golden decorations hanging down, these beautiful lamps in the shape of chrysanthemums. There are candles, the smell of incense. There's so many gorgeous details. The gold leaf makes it glow, giving it a kind of mysterious and otherworldly beauty. Did you know that the onaijin is supposed to be a visual representation of the Pure Land? So the altar is using visual language to express something that is beyond words. There's something timeless and eternal about it, especially in the figure of Amida Buddha on the central altar. When you look at it, you can feel the wisdom and compassion that Amida symbolizes. It evokes an emotional response in us. It isn't an intellectual thing. So I hope that when you sit here in the Hondo, each time you come here and look at the onaijin, that you take in the wonder of it and allow yourselves to feel that wonder and let that connect you to all the other wonders that it evokes. The wonder that through causes and conditions you were born, thanks to all the ancestors who came before you, that the wonder that the Buddha Dharma came to us from India, Shakyamuni Buddha, 2,500 years ago, and has somehow made it to us, thanks to all the teachers who came and passed it on to us. The wonder that we're able to sit in this beautiful Hondo in front of this beautiful Naijin, thanks to the efforts of the pioneers who came before us. You know, that's all cause for wonder, and I hope that when you look at the onaijin, that you connect yourselves to that feeling of wonder here and the wonder that is all around us in our lives. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu.